Hi, I'm James Wedmore, host of the Mind Your Business podcast, and I've built an 8-figure-a-year company selling digital products around my knowledge and expertise. In fact, this is what I've been doing in multiple niches for the past 15 years. And if you've ever wanted to do the same, or maybe you're trying but you can't seem to get any traction, here's how I can help. As you can guess, you need an audience if you want to sell your stuff, right? But what if I told you that you don't need a big audience? You don't need millions of followers to get started. In fact, we see that it's with just your first 100 leads where you really start getting some momentum. I mean, think about it. Imagine that you're on the stage of a room filled with just 100 people in that audience right now. That's a lot of people. You don't think that a few of them would walk up to you after your talk and ask, "Hey, how can I keep working with you?" Of course they would. And that's why I created Your First 100 Leads. It's a 14-video step-by-step training mini course that walks you through exactly how to get your first 100 leads fast. And the feedback and results from this free program have been amazing. Diane Shepard said, "This is one of the best trainings I've ever taken." Jake Curry said, "We have had 753 people sign up for this free training. Are you kidding me?" Dan Netting said, "I'm currently going through the first 100 leads training, and James, I gotta say, it's brilliant. This training is A to Z complete, and the best part is it's absolutely free." To register, simply click the link in the show notes of this episode. Thanks so much, and I'll see you there.
The number one bit of advice that I give people in this area is spend the most time on the social media platform that you enjoy the most. If you're a LinkedIn person, spend your time on LinkedIn. Nurture your community there, because if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's going to be more successful for you. For me, I love Instagram. I could spend hours on Instagram. I'm not going to force myself on Twitter, X, because it's just not my thing as much, right? And spend time where you enjoy. That's my number one, because you will be more successful. If you're hating where you are, it's going to come through. Like I said, it's social. People are going to feel it. You have to be enjoying what you're doing.
Hey, and welcome to the Ambitious Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm Serena Shoup, CPA, a mom of 3, and I've been running a virtual bookkeeping business from my home since 2017. You are in the right place if you are a bookkeeper, accountant, or an accounting student, and you believe and know in your heart that your purpose is bigger than sitting in a cubicle. If you're ready to learn some actionable tips and strategies for starting and growing your accounting business, then I hope you stick around. Welcome back to the Ambitious Bookkeeper Podcast. Today I have Alison Lukin on to chat with us about social media, and it's been quite a while since I've had anyone on talking about this, so I'm really excited to get into some current trends and things that are working versus not working. So welcome, Alison. How are you today?
I'm really great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Very good. Yeah. It's beautiful here. We talked about being in Arizona versus New Jersey. So, yeah. So go ahead and give us a background. Like I said, I don't like to read bios. I like my guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. So I really started off as a freelance writer working in music journalism. And that was kind of when social media was just starting, especially social media for businesses. You know, we had MySpace and Facebook in the very beginning. And I started working with clients and managing social media for small businesses in about 2012, because it's kind of a natural segue for a writer to go into social media. I mean, a social media caption really is, just short form writing, right? Mm-hmm. So I did that for several years, and I was working with private clients, working with a couple of various marketing agencies. And then I went out on my own. And in 2019, I formed Officially Social. And we do social media management, blogging, and newsletters for small businesses. We work really in most industries as long as they don't have to have their content run past compliance. But a large portion of our business is in accounting and bookkeeping. We have a couple different accounting organizations that we partner with and work with several accounting firms. So we're very well versed in the accounting and bookkeeping community.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear how you ended up in that niche with a lot of people. I'm always curious how like other businesses also end up in niches, right? There's all of us kind of get there at some point, but so how did you guys end up in the accounting sphere?
So there is an organization called Profit First, which I know a lot of accountants are familiar with. And the owner or the gentleman, Mike McAllowitz, who really started, that whole brand, him and the man who is the president of Profit First, Ron Saharian, they both live in my town.
Oh,
yeah. Our kids go to school together, and they knew me from actually Ron's daughter and my daughter are in the same grade at school. And they just knew me from being a social media manager. And they asked me, I've been actually managing social media for Profit First since 2020. I looked back because, everything in life is marked by like pre-COVID and post-COVID. And I'm like, I know it was before COVID. And I look back at my records and I was like, January 2020, right before this stuff hit the fan,
Yeah.
So just from being local, it kind of happened that way. I never necessarily saw myself working in accounting, but really, like I said, I've worked with all different small businesses. And one thing that you have to have really innately in you in order to be good as a social media manager is you have to be interested in everything. You have to have the willingness to learn anything. I have to be able to research and love what I'm learning about enough and be able to write in anyone's voice and make it convincing. Because really, anything I'm posting, I'm speaking on my client's behalf. So I have to say, me and my team, we're just learners. We're just people who really want to learn about anything. So when we got the opportunity to work with Profit First, we've been, happily doing it for years now. And from there, we've been introduced to pumpkin plan strategists, and there's another organization, Universal Accounting, and then just independent accounting firms and bookkeepers that have become clients of ours. So it kind of just fell in my lap, but we're happy to do it. And we've been enjoying it very much.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never expected to hear that for some reason. Yeah, it makes sense now. I did know they were in New Jersey. That did not connect, but that's really cool. And like you said, the niche thing kind of just falls in your lap. That's kind of how mine ended up too. And yeah, so if you're out there listening and you don't have a niche yet, just hang in there. It'll fall in your lap eventually.
The universe leads you, and it'll lead you somewhere good, hopefully.
Yeah. Awesome. So you provide one-on-one services for lots of industries, but you also have a digital downloadable subscription type service developed for accountants, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to us about that a little.
Sure. Yeah, we have a content calendar subscription service. Like you mentioned, we do one-on-one with any business, really, if it's within their budget. But, sometimes custom accounting services can be a little pricey. And also, a lot of times people do have, accounting firms do have in-house, maybe either an office manager or someone within the office that is managing social media for them. So, whether you have someone handling your social media or not, this can really be a good addition to your strategy. So our content calendars, we have one, again, just for accountants and bookkeepers with content that's great for your business. You choose between 5 days a week or 7 days a week. And like we were just talking about before, if you chose, let's say, a 7-day per week subscription, we're not telling you should be posting 7 days a week. That's up to you whether you want to or not. That just gives you 7 choices per week of content to pick that would be pertainable to your business. So once you choose your subscription, you log into your calendar. It's a one-click download to download everything. And you have a full month's worth of accounting and bookkeeping content. You have fully written captions, tags, hashtags, graphics that are professionally done for you. We choose TikTok videos that are pertainable to your business. Like I mentioned before, we don't use any AI. Everything is created by real people, real account managers with a ton of experience in the industry. And we also really like to leave some negative space on the graphics. So if you want to, we have a simple image editor and you can drop your business's logo right onto the graphic as well. So it's branded for you. And then the text, the captions are fully editable. So if you want to put your business name into the text, you can. It's just a copy paste. Or, let's say you want to make it sound a little more lighthearted or a little more serious, whatever suits your personality. You can take that text, you can use it as is, or you can change it a little bit. And then you can either take this content. We purposely did it this way because not everyone wants to deal with a scheduler. So you can take the content and put it directly into your social accounts if you want, or you can use a scheduler. So whatever way you like to work, if you're a little more advanced, or you, like I said, have someone in your office that's covering social media for you, you can use a scheduler. Easy. It's easy to use it either way. We recommend a lot to people a scheduler called Social Champ. If you don't already use one, there's a free version, and it gives you kind of just enough basic scheduling abilities. So if you don't want to be posting, kind of on the fly every day, you can do that as well. But, we were really thinking affordable, easy, and effective because, like I said, also you can go on Etsy and for $30, $50, buy a couple hundred accounting posts, but they're kind of all garbage. They're not really going to do anything for you. It's just an image. They're really bland, and it's not going to do anything for your business or your engagement. But these are well written by experts, social media experts, and people who've been working in accounting for a super long time. So, and we do have a coupon code that we are offering your subscribers for 25% off your first month subscription. So you can kind of give it a try, very low risk. We bill month to month. So if you try it a couple months and it's not for you, by all means, you can cancel your subscription. We're not locking anyone into anything. So
yeah, awesome. And we'll share all codes and links and everything in the show notes. So not to worry there. Yeah. So that's an amazing level of service that you're offering. And I know listeners that are profit first professionals, they probably already know about you, but in case they don't, what do you offer that's a little different for them?
So yeah, we also have a profit first calendar as well. Yeah. So, the general calendar for accountants and bookkeepers, like I said, has more general accounting and bookkeeping content. The profit first calendar is all branded for profit first professionals. It will have the profit first logo on it. We actually work with Profit First to come up with that content. So it's all approved by them and supports incorporating the Profit First program into your business. And both calendars are geared towards, they're not geared towards other accountants and other Profit First professionals. They're geared towards getting you clients. What do your clients need to hear? What will it take to get you more business? What do these people need to be seeing in your feeds to build the trust, to convince them why they should be working with you? And it provides some really well done educational posts that are engaging.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be my next question is what's your take on educational content versus inspirational or, whatever else is out there? Do you have like a formula that you guys use? Because there's different people that talk about the social media strategies, and some people are like, educational content is dead. And then like, you're just going to get freebie seekers. So walk us through what your take is on all of that.
Sure. So your social media feed really has to be a good balance of both education and entertainment. It's funny because I am on that pillar all the time, like education and entertainment. It's got to be interesting. It can't just be boring, right? And I was watching a podcast actually a day or two ago that's completely unrelated even to social media. It was just like marketing for a different business. I knew the lady running it, so I watched it. And the person who was being interviewed actually said she had 4 E's: entertainment, education, engagement, and emotion. So really, if you're taking all of those things into consideration, I almost think like the emotional could fall under the entertainment umbrella, and you want all of it to be engaging, right? Whether it's educational or entertainment. But I mean, everyone likes a joke here and there, right? I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't like to scroll and like, oh no, don't show me anything funny,
Yeah.
Or just an interesting fun fact, like, oh wow, I didn't know that about bookkeeping, or whatever fun fact it is. Or, it's National Bookkeepers Day. Oh, I didn't know it was National Bookkeepers Day, some sort of interesting fact. And also, I mean, giving away educational content is not, attracting freebie seekers, right? You have to give something away for free because you have to show people what you know.
Yeah.
Right. And also, if you're not educating them, they're not going to know what they need.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what you know. They're not going to know that you're the best person to give it to them. Right. And then also on the entertainment side, no one thinks our business is as interesting as we do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We could just promote ourselves all day long and all of our followers just love everything we have to say. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? Right. But to most people, that gets a little boring after a while, right? We can't just talk about ourselves all day long. So the entertainment portion of it really is what keeps people involved. Like, everybody loves, all accountants rather, there's accounting jokes, there's accountant humor, there's small business humor, misery loves company sometimes, if there's something that, all small business owners or all people who have worked with accountants can kind of, relate to, and you put that on your feed, people are going to like that, like, oh, that person read my mind. I've thought that before too,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like this conversation right here that we're having, right? We're enjoying talking to each other. There's some lightheartedness to it. We have a little chuckle here and there, right? We're talking about business, but we're also having an enjoyable conversation. So that's really what your feed needs to be like also. You're providing value, but it's also something enjoyable to listen to, or, something enjoyable to read through or scroll through, however you want to. So it definitely has to be both.
We'll be back after a quick break.
This episode of the Ambitious Bookkeeper Podcast is sponsored by my brand new free training, The Ultimate Guide to Creating a Profitable Bookkeeping Business. In just 1 hour, you will learn 3 keys to creating and launching a profitable bookkeeping business. We will map out your path to creating a bookkeeping or accounting business that keeps you in control of your time, priorities, and expertise. From someone who built a 6-figure firm on part-time hours. That's right. You can stay in control of your time, keep family as your priority, and serve your clients well. It just takes a little strategy up front, and I'm going to help you with that during this free training. So head over to the show notes to sign up now for the next training and find out how you can choose the work you do, kick imposter syndrome to the curb, use tech to be super efficient, which all leads to a profitable business. Just head on over to ambitiousbookkeeper.com/training, and I will see you there. Yeah, I agree on that one.
Yeah, right?
And it's funny because I do think accountants and bookkeepers, we're a different breed of people, and we do have the tendency to just focus on the educational content. So it's nice to be reminded that it doesn't have to all be that, and you can sprinkle in some personal stuff and some humor, make sure people understand that we're not all dry and boring.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, let's say, you work in your office with, even if your team is small, if there's 2 or 3 of you, let's say, every once in a while, take a picture, have a selfie of the 3 of you smiling. And guess what? I'm scrolling through. I'm going to say, oh, they look like nice people. They look like people I would want to work with. You might think that it's kind of like, who cares about a picture of us? But people do. It helps you be more likable. It helps you, to seem more trustworthy. So let us get to know you a little bit. Tell us something exciting that's happening in your business. A new client maybe that you have, or an accomplishment of one of your clients, or an accomplishment of yours. All of that stuff is interesting. The more we get to know you, the more we want to work with you. And people think so often, oh, my followers aren't going to care about that. But believe it or not, they do. Like I said, people want to get to know you. It can't just be, here are my services. It's tax season. Make sure you do this. Watch out for that. It has to be interesting. It has to be creative. And, with our content calendars, let's say, that part of, your social media strategy isn't really your strongest suit as far as coming up with variety, right? You can get that variety in our content calendars and, choose 2 or 3 posts, let's say, over the course of the week from our content calendars. Then that leaves room for your maybe more straightforward post that just advertises your services, or, maybe there's a deadline you need all of your followers to know about. So the more straightforward stuff, then that's what you can fill in, but get that variety, get that interest from our content calendars. So if you need help in that area, it's kind of a good resource to have, and it breaks it up. It's less overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I have this whole month in front of me where I have to be educational and I have to entertain people, but maybe that's not my personality. So it makes it a little less overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think about, because I can already, I've seen this comment kind of float around in my community, and I can already kind of hear the listener being like, well, if everyone's using the same calendar and the same social posts, like, we're just going to all look the same. So how do you handle that objection?
That's the absolute number one question that we get about our content calendars. The reason why you don't have to worry about that is because you can take any of these posts and use them however you want. We give them to you in a suggested order. And sometimes, they will have to stick on whatever day. Like, right. Sunday was Mother's Day. You're not going to take a Mother's Day post and put it on Tuesday. Mother's Day is Mother's Day, right? Mm-hmm. So there are certain posts that will have to stand where they are because of the day. But for the most part, if you want to put Monday's post on Wednesday or Friday's post on Tuesday, you can post wherever you want. Mm-hmm. If you're subscribing, let's say, to the 7 days per week, you can choose out of any of those days. You don't have to use all 7. And different ones will pertain to your business and some won't. And, the business down the street, the accountant or bookkeeper down the street, their business, I'm sure, isn't exactly like yours. Maybe there's different posts that they would choose for their business. You're manipulating the text a little bit, perhaps. So the caption will be different. Also, this content is not for other bookkeepers and accountants. It's for potential clients or current clients, whoever is following you. So you don't care if the other bookkeepers or accountants are reading your stuff, because that's not who the show is for, right?
Right.
So, and then also, if you think of yourself as, either a single person or a business owner, and you follow some accountants on Facebook or Instagram, right? How many really are you following? Like 2, maybe 3, like max. You're not following 20 accountants. I mean, that, I'm going to say, is going to be super rare. You're definitely not going to be following 20 accountants that are all subscribing to officially social calendars and posting things in the same order. I mean, the likelihood is nil, right? So it's really not a concern with this content. And again, you should be sprinkling in your own content as well. And if you're unsure of, let's say, how to put a post together, right? What structure should I be using? What should a graphic look like? Look at our posts that we're giving you and model your own posts after it. It'll kind of show you how it's supposed to be done. So the likelihood of your feed looking exactly like somebody else's who is subscribing to our calendar, and again, with the exact same audience that's looking all on the exact same days, it's not really a concern. But remember the question that we get.
Well, can I circle back to what you said about, like, you're not following 20 other accountants? Right. If you're listening and you are following 20 other accountants, because I know it happens to be a thing, and I get like wanting to have like your community or whatever of other bookkeepers, might I suggest just muting or unfollowing other accountants for a bit, because that's also just going to feed your imposter syndrome and comparison, and it's really not a good place to be. And it's going to mess with your algorithm. If you keep following other accountants, you're going to keep getting fed other accountants' profiles. Exactly. And it's going to mess with their algorithm too.
Filter out the noise.
And their own analytics. So please do us all a favor.
Follow the ones that are really giving you value, read the content that is really serving you and giving you value. And I mean, if you see another accountant that posts something that would be beneficial to your audience, share it.
Yeah.
Social media, the biggest thing people miss out on is social media is social. We're supposed to be interacting with each other. It's not set it and forget it. That's not going to benefit your community, right? So the more you like and share and comment on other people's content, when they're scrolling, they're going to be doing then the same thing to you. They're going to be like, that Serena's just so nice. Every time I post something, she likes it. Or she, leaves a nice comment. when I see her content, I'm going to do the same thing.
Mhm.
On the flip side, if you never interact with anyone, and never like, comment, share anything that anyone else posts, they're not going to pay attention to what you're posting as much. Also, your content's not going to show up as much in their feeds either. One hand washes the other. Again, it's social. It's not set it and forget it. As much
Yeah.
as we would maybe like it to be because it's less work, that's just not how social media works. It's not going to be beneficial for you. You're not going to get the results that you want and the engagement that you want from it.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into my question about current trends and what you're seeing across Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know if like your calendar is like you guys suggest to post the same thing everywhere, or what you're seeing as far as trends overall with social media. Like, where are you finding that people are getting the most engagement? What type of post, which platform, all that kind of stuff?
The number one bit of advice that I give people in this area is spend the most time on the social media platform that you enjoy the most. If you're a LinkedIn person, spend your time on LinkedIn, nurture your community there, because if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's going to be more successful for you. For me, I love Instagram. I could spend hours on Instagram. I'm not going to force myself on Twitter, X, because it's just not my thing as much, right? And spend time where you enjoy. That's my number one, because you will be more successful. If you're hating where you are, it's going to come through. Like I said, it's social. People are going to feel it. You have to be enjoying what you're doing. As far as trends go, obviously, I'm not saying anything new. It's still video. It's still video. As much as people hate to pick their phone up and talk into their phones, and what, to be honest with you, when it comes to social media, I love being a producer. I think of myself as a producer. I love to, help everyone else come up with their personas. But then when it comes to me, as talkative as I am, I'm going to be reluctant to pick up my phone and talk into a video, because that's just kind of who I am, right? However, if I'm at an event, I'll film a little video. I'll take a picture of myself sitting at my officially social table. Or if there's somebody else that I want to support, I'll take a little video. You can always, share videos from other accounts to your stories, let's say. So, as much video as you can is always really, really good. People need to get past that barrier of thinking that, like, people won't care. Someone's going to look at me and think that I'm stupid. Why are they talking into their phone and making a video? They're not going to care what I have to say. But people really do. Anyone who's going to say anything negative about you probably wishes they had the guts to do it themselves, right? And you have something to offer. You have really great knowledge to offer people, and they're going to be appreciative. So video as much as you possibly can. When it comes to playing to the algorithms of Instagram, it is really about stories. Stories is your number one. I'm going to say in 2023, it was about reels and stories. While yes, reels are super important, stories will feed the algorithm in 2024 more, and is feeding the algorithm. Obviously, we're already in May. We're halfway through. I can't believe it. I don't know why, since it's a month that begins with an M, I keep thinking it's March, but it's May. So anyway, the algorithms are just loving the stories. So as a result, for anyone who doesn't know, feed the algorithm and your content will show up in other people's feeds more. So that's what you want to do. And the big thing about Instagram, I had a meeting with a potential client this morning, and they had no idea about this, that, Instagram, for example, right? There's your beautiful grid, which, are all of your posts, which live there forever. There's the stories, the circles that go across the top. We know that they disappear after 24 hours, right? Most people are going on Instagram and they are watching stories. For me, some days I'll go and I'll scroll through posts for a while and I don't look at the stories. But most of the time I'm going on Instagram and I'm looking at stories. I actually just looked at a poll that a pretty major influencer put up not that long ago to ask people, like, when you go on Instagram, do you look at posts? Do you look at stories? 80% of the answers were stories. So if you're not posting to stories on Instagram, you're missing a large portion of your followers, because they might be going on Instagram and not even looking at your posts. They're just going on there to watch stories. So
Yeah.
you can always share your post to your stories. That's pretty useful for you. And obviously, we know that Facebook has stories also, but people don't watch stories as much on Facebook. They're going there more for the posts. So it's really like knowing the behaviors of the people who are going on each of these platforms.
Okay.
The style of posting on LinkedIn is very, very similar to the style of posting on Facebook. So you can be posting the same content on both. You can post the same content on Instagram, but obviously you have to do it in a different way. You can't be putting links that people can click on in your captions. That's not going to work very well for you. The whole link in bio thing, or putting a link tree in your Instagram bio is super useful. So there's ways, to keep people engaged and make it easy for people to find your business and do business with you. But stories, people want to get to know you. And also it's like, right now, even, in this conversation that we're having is more of a professionally filmed thing that you're going to edit later. You're going to put it on, your feed, but it really is stories don't have to be that. It's literally just you picking up your phone, taking a picture at an event that you're at, or, let's say you're not comfortable with that. And, you want to just take a picture of a book cover, a book that's helping you out. It could be something simple like that. It doesn't always have to be your face.
Right.
Be making slides in Canva for your stories that have good tips and tricks, or things that are current or seasonal on those slides to put in your stories. So there's a lot of different ways to present your information, even without filming. And, making a slideshow that counts as a video or a reel. It doesn't, again, have to be you actually talking. It makes people uncomfortable sometimes, but once you do it several times, it's kind of like, you don't think about it as much. It's just kind of something that you do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that one for sure. It's been actually quite a while since I went on stories and actually talked to the camera. Most of the time my stories are pictures of things throughout my day, and I'll just put a caption on it, do some like engagement polls and stuff like that.
And that's great too. That's great too. You're interacting and you're putting stuff out there. You don't have to always be talking.
Yeah. I will say what's interesting is, since I run 2 social media accounts, I run one for, actually I run like 4, but that's besides story for a different day. I have my Ambitious Bookkeeper one, I have my firm one, and then I have a personal one that's very private, and then I have a music one. So, but my 2 bookkeeping related ones, like the Ambitious Bookkeeper one has 3 times the followers than my firm program, and they both get the same amount of views on stories.
Yeah.
So like that's the other thing of getting people to go to stories. Like once you're kind of at the bottom of the algorithm, it's kind of harder to come back, I think.
Yeah. We have people that come and work with us that, like, let's say haven't posted for like 6 months, or I actually had someone early on when we first launched the content calendars. She subscribed to our calendars. She maybe took 3 pieces of content. She put them on her, on Facebook or whatever, but literally had not posted anything in 6 months. And then she reached out to me and was like, these posts don't have any engagement. And it's like, well, there's no pixie dust in these posts. You have to play to algorithms. Basically, what's happened is, if you haven't posted in 6 months, the algorithms have put your account to sleep. No one's seeing it because you haven't been posting to stories. You haven't been, putting posts up there or engaging with anyone either. It's not even like you're going on there and scrolling to look at the people that you're following and like or comment on anything there. So the algorithm has put you to sleep, and it's going to take a while to wake up again. So just the act of getting posts out there, putting some stories up there, engaging with other people. I also recommended her, boosting some posts just to give it a little more oomph, to maybe make the gears move a little bit faster. But the more you post, the more engagement that you're going to get, and also sometimes the algorithms are a mystery. You have the same engagement on stories on the same, 2 accounts. Sometimes it's like, it's however the wind blows. Sometimes it's a mystery. We don't even really know why, but we can just kind of do our best to play to what we think the algorithms want to see.
Yeah.
So,
right now, like what's been really successful for me as we're recording this in May of 2024, in case anyone's binging this in a year in advance or year in the future, is doing, like, I'm all about doing things like as simple and easy as possible.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I've been doing a lot of like just time lapse videos of
Mhm.
random stuff throughout
Mhm.
my life and my day, and then doing like text overlay and a good caption on and putting it to a trending audio on Reels, and I use ManyChat as well. So everything has a call to action. Like
That's
every
excellent.
post, you can comment a word and it'll send you a link to whatever it is, whether it's a podcast episode or a resource or whatever.
That's, speaking of trends, that's actually just something that I'm seeing all over Instagram now where an influencer is showcasing whatever and,
Mhm.
comment this word and I'll send you this. So
Mhm.
that's been a really good engaging call to action that I've been seeing a lot lately. So yes, if
Yeah, it's working. It's working really well.
yeah,
But
that's
that's how simple it can be. It can be a time lapse of like not even your face, honestly. Like I time lapse myself cutting up a pineapple, and I put that reel up a couple days ago with an engaging text, an engaging caption, and a call to action
Mhm.
with a trending audio, and I'm every day there's multiple requests for that link. So it's like that's what's working for me right now, and don't overthink it. Like just
Yep.
whenever you have the opportunity, put up your camera,
But,
do a short
yeah,
little
people get
video,
paralyzed. People get
put it in
paralyzed.
the bank.
Yeah, they have good ideas and then, maybe they'll take a photo and then they don't end up actually posting it. Like hit post, just do it. Just get it out there. And I say to people too all the time, like you can delete anything. If you put
Mhm.
it up there and after 5 minutes you realize like that really is awful or that's not what I want to say or there's an error in it, you can delete it. It's not that
Yeah.
bad. Maybe only a few people will have seen it and maybe not anybody, depending on how quickly you delete it. But
Yeah.
just post. Stop thinking so much. People get so self-conscious or just overthink strategy so much. And
Mhm.
we have clients sometimes that just nitpick at graphics or nitpick at a sentence. Like, don't think about it that hard because nobody else is. It's like
Only
there's a
people
real
in our industry.
Oh, well, there's an amazing quote, and I have to figure out. I think it's Winston Churchill, but I don't know. And I one of these days, because I keep repeating it, I'll figure out who it is. When you're young, you think that everyone is thinking about you. When you are middle aged, you stop caring what everybody thinks about you. And when
Mhm.
you're older, you realize no one was thinking about you in the first place. And it's
Yeah.
so, so true. Like, yes, obviously people care about your business, people who follow you for a reason, but no one is analyzing and nitpicking the way you think they are and the way you are to yourself. So
Yes.
just do it. Just put it out there. It's really not that serious.
Yeah. Honestly, if you do put something up with an error, you're gonna get more engagement on that, and then you're gonna be in the
Right? You put it
algorithm.
on
So
purpose. Put it on purpose, right?
yeah, I've had that happen where it was like it was a while back. I put up some it was also very a controversial type of thing, but it was like at the beginning of when reels were starting to really pick up.
Yeah.
And I hit like 1 million views on this one video because people kept taking jabs. And I'm like, you're just feeding the algorithm
Right?
now.
Please bring it on. Give me
Bring it
more.
on, haters. People that
Exactly.
weren't even the targeted audience for it were nitpicking. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. You think you're hurting me, but you're actually helping me.
Yeah. So, do you have a lot of clients because this is a common question with a lot of the bookkeepers that I talk to, they're like, I don't get any engagement on Instagram, and I don't think that's where my clients are going to come from, but that's where I like to be. So, do you have advice for that person? Or, I mean, this can apply to literally any of the platforms, obviously. So, it's like, I want to be here, but I'm not getting the traction that I want. Maybe my clients aren't here. What's your suggestion there?
You're not going to be equally successful across all platforms. No one is. No one is. If you look at any businesses platforms, let's say they're on, the main four, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, right? You're going to see one that is much more successful than another, right? So don't feel bad about the ones that aren't. There's people there too, and you should continue to post on everything. But if you have one that is successful, be happy with that. Because again, there's always one. I'm not talking about celebrities and things like that, but your average person, your average business owner, there's going to be one that is more successful. So definitely spend the time and nurture that. Now, let's say you're an Instagram lover and you're just not seeing the engagement or the traction that you want. You can always do something like a growth campaign. Take, your budget, let's say for 2 or 3 months. You can start a growth campaign for like $350 a month. Do it for a few months. You're going to see an explosion. And then maybe you're going to have a more active community on a platform that maybe you enjoy more, that you want to be on more. And it also depends on your demographic. Who are you trying to attract? Because there are facts as far as where certain people hang out on social media more often, So, you're not necessarily, let's say, you're looking to attract, business owners 25 to 30 years old or 35 years old. Facebook might not be your place because, if you're on Facebook, those 25-year-olds look at you like you're old and you're a loser or whatever. Because the young people, a lot of times they, oh, Facebook, forget it, So maybe they're on Instagram. But so look at what's successful for you. Look at where your demographic really hangs out. And if you don't know, some simple Googling will tell you the main age and gender demographic and industries that are most prevalent on what platforms. So that will help you target where exactly you need to be for your business. But again, I'm an Instagram lover. If I really want to bump up my Instagram and get more engagement and get more followers, there's ways. Ads, do a growth campaign, and that will bump it up and give you kind of the satisfaction that you're looking for on whatever platform. So,
can you explain what exactly a growth campaign is for our listener?
For the most part, they really are like a super targeted ad. Like an ad can be for really anything, right? You can put an ad to sell a product, to sell a service, to get more followers somewhere, just to educate people. It depends on, what you're in it for. Right. And a growth campaign is a targeted ad for the purpose of getting more followers and, bringing them to your account. And again, we can target something like that really for a specific age group, for a specific region, whatever. They are super targeted. You can think of them similar to an ad.
Okay. Awesome. What do you think is important as far as because you did say that you guys provide newsletter and blogging. So how does social media fit in with that, and what is the ultimate goal with all of that when you do provide all those services for a business?
Well, we find that if people are covering those 3 bases, and blogs could be a little bit more challenging for people if it's really not your thing, right? Or if you don't have someone working for you that can write one for you. But they really do cover all bases. The benefit of having a blog is a couple things. It gives you the opportunity to have exclusive content, right? Then you can take that content, you can put it in your newsletter, you can post it on social media. Now, let's say you write a blog post, the top 5, whatever. Your number 1, you can make that into a nice graphic and post that on social media. The next week, take your number 2, make that a nice graphic or make a little video out of it, post that on number 3. So it gives you a space for exclusive content. Another thing is every time you're posting a blog post, that is considered an update on your website, right? The search engines love website updates, right? And it raises you in the search engine. So if someone is searching for an accountant or bookkeeper in your area, you have lots of links on your website. People are linking to you. You're always updating your website with blogs. Aside from, let's say, Google ads or, other paid things that you can do to boost, your position in search engines, website updates are just a good organic way to raise your position. And like I said, you're going to be posting, let's say, I put a new blog post on my website. Obviously, I'm going to post that on my social media. Check out my new blog post. I'm going to put that in my newsletter. It gives me a lot of great content. And also, linking back to what we started our conversation with, give things away for free. You want to give things away for free. It's showing that you know what you're doing, right? Yeah. If you post a blog post that has some information that teaches a potential client something they didn't know before, they're like, oh my gosh, thank God, Serena put that blog post out there because now I know what I didn't know before.
I wonder what else I don't know. Maybe I should be working with this person.
Exactly. And putting out free advice like that, it's not going to hurt your business. Someone's not going to read your blog post and say, oh, now I know enough where I don't need Serena's services.
Right.
You know,
And if they do say that, you don't want to work with that person anyway.
Probably not. And even when it comes to like, your coaching, for example, let's say you have a new blog post that you write every single week that you put out there, and I'm considering taking your course and I'm eating up your free information because I love it so much. I want to know more. And I'm going to say, if the free content is this good, I can only imagine what the paid content is, right? So it's not going to dissuade anyone from using your services ever. It's just going to show them, just the tip of the iceberg of what you can offer.
Yeah.
So like I said, it really, all three of them really work well together. Social media is your great foundation for everything. It's just your main way to connect with people. But the newsletters are really great too, because people sometimes can forget about their email list, right? Let's say, God forbid, let's say you have, 10,000 followers on Instagram. You hear every once in a while, something happens where then your Instagram gets shut down and you can't get it back. I had it happen to a client of mine a few years ago. We still don't know why it actually happened, right? So let's say, your main way to access people is Instagram. Now it's gone. Your email list is something that no one can ever take away from you. Your email list is there. No one can take it. It's something that, you can nurture over time, have that, box on your website where people could put their email address in, and also it's really great to offer some sort of incentive. Like, hey, here's a PDF that you need during tax season. Put your email address in and you'll get my free PDF. Great incentive for someone to put their email address in that box on your website. You nurture, you grow that email list. Then no matter what happens on social media, you still have connections to people. You can still continue to nurture your business through a newsletter. So they all work really well together and they're all very important to your business.
Yeah, I agree. There's been times where I do have blogs and social media and newsletters for both my firm and this business, obviously. But there's been times where I've been like, I wonder if the social media is really doing anything. And I stopped posting for a while and then realized like, oh yeah, it was working. It was driving people to our email list. It was growing the email list. It's helping during launches and all this kind of stuff. So even if you don't love it, obviously you have a solution for that. So don't be scared of it.
What I tell people all the time too, like, okay, typical, this kind of thing happens every day. I need a new accountant. What am I going to do? Maybe I'll go on Facebook and I'll say, hey friends, I need a new accountant. Does anyone have an accountant that they like? 12 of my friends are going to respond and say, this person, that person. Maybe in the end, I get a list of 5 or 6 people that have been recommended by my friends. What's my next step? I'm going to go on their website. I'm going to go on their social media pages. I'm going to look at the reviews. I'm going to see online, what's happening with this person. Let's say I narrow it down to 2 people. Okay. One of them has posted twice this year and, maybe posted a little in, 2019. Mm-hmm. Then I look at this accountant over here that posts 2-3 times a week, really current content. People are engaging with them. They're offering a lot of free, really, really good, helpful advice. Who am I going to pick? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So if you might be wondering, what's this ROI on all this work that I'm putting in? It's there. That's it. Yeah. You're positioning yourself as a reliable, trustworthy authority in your field. That's what it's doing for you. That's the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, I think that's a great note to end our interview on. Remind everyone where the best place, and we'll link everything in the show notes, but where's the best place for them to connect with you?
So, obviously our website is officiallysocial.com. Our Instagram account is The Real Officially Social. I am always very accessible. Anyone can email me at any time if they have social media questions. I am Alison with 1 L at officiallysocial.com. And we'll provide links as far as the content calendars and coupon code.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will link everything in the show notes for you. And yeah, thank you again for taking the time to come on the absolutely and share everything. And it was such a pleasure to chat with you. I loved our conversation.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. I love this kind of stuff. This was super fun for me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And we'll talk to you next week. Thank you to everyone who helps make this podcast possible. Content and interviews are produced by me, Serena Shoup. Our intro and outro music is written and performed by my brother, Ian Gilliam. Editing is also by Ian using his awesome sound engineering skills along with Descript software. Hosting and publishing is by Buzzsprout, and you can check out the show notes for links to all of these amazing resources and resources mentioned in the episode.
Be ambitious.